2 days. Yeah, this is, I think, fourth day here.
You had this party tonight, launching the world launch of the album, is that right?
Well, yeah, it's so until the 21st of this cold, isn't it, when you're
21st, yeah, 18th in England.
Really? Is that it?
So I was wondering, why you were particularly having a party in Los Angeles, perhaps?
Why? Well, MCA's sort of head office is here. Thank you. And, sort of all the managing directors and directors of MCA Records are here. So, they like to see their publicity machine in operation from time to time, use us as an excuse.
Yeah.
That's where, we're not, so it's not our party, it's their party for us.
Yeah.
So, then there's a vast difference.
You seem to have this job within the WHO organisation now, it's a new job, is it public relations spokesman or something? Could you tell me what that entails?
Well, basically, working closely with Keith on stories relating to the Shepperton situation, to keeping people informed as to what the WHO and the WHO group are doing down at the studio, and why have we got the place in the first place, and why we're interested in buying a film studio, and forthcoming plans for the studio.
Is that the sort of job you enjoy, or?
Yeah, I've always enjoyed getting involved with the press.
I mean, some people might think it's a slightly unusual step, I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Keith comes off the road because he hasn't got anything else to do after like the others. So if we can use his energies to some genuine effect, which is the idea behind it, then it's obviously a worthwhile thing to do. And with his contacts and the way that he can get into the press at the drop of a hat anyway.
Yes.
But he uses that for a purpose. Then we've got
in a constructive
the world's most effective PR machine.
Yes.
Sorry about the inanimate.
You regard it as a compliment.
I'm going to think about that one.
You obviously have a new album now, which I regret I haven't heard because I've been on holiday and
oh well, I can play you some tracks.
Well, I gather we might be hearing it later. I don't know. So. And this is the first studio album for, is it 2 years or 3 years? Or?
3, I think.
And it has been...
Who's next? Who's our numbers, right?
It has been said this is quite a long time. Quite a long
Well,
time.
it's for us it is. Our usual output is sort of one a year. And this is the first one for 2 or 3 years. And, so it's...
Why has there been that gap?
There's been we've been involved in the film. The Kids Are Alright film. I was in the States. We were getting involved with Shepperton. So we were setting up. We were busy setting up a lot of things. I mean,
3 solo albums.
Yeah, everybody wanted to get a solo album out of their city.
Yes.
So we, waited until that was all done, and then came back together as a band again. I sold my house in Malibu, or I'm selling it, and at $1,120,000. Please call toll free this number. Then we decided to go in, and Pete had some songs, and John had written a lot of songs for a project that he was working on. And so we had loads of material. And it seemed, it was the only way really, because we wanted to get back together.
But naturally, I suppose, if people don't feel there's an album coming out regularly from a group, they think, oh, well, that group must wonder what they're doing, or wonder how they get...
Well, we're all involved. The Who, if you let the Who become a kind of Iron Maiden, as it were, that it really just sort of cuts you off from doing anything else.
Yes.
I think that is the death of the band as we know, but because that's the Who has always been the main thing, the main sort of the mainstay, fulcrum, right? And so from out of that, ideas, songs that Pete has written that he says, well, they're good songs and I want to put them out, but they're not good for the Who.
Yes.
Then obviously Pete's going to put them out in another way and produce them, whatever. And same goes with John.
How much does it depend on him? In fact, I mean, is he? Does it depend on him that much? I mean, coming up with songs, saying, right, we're going to do an album now. Or, I mean, how much can you persuade him? Through if you persuade him?
Pete says, okay, we've got an album. I'll go in and write some stuff.
Yes.
But if they don't like it, I mean, you do actually listen to the track.
Oh,
you
yeah.
decide yourself, we like that one.
We like that one, that one's a Who number, that one isn't.
I mean, you'll come in with about 30 tracks.
Yeah. And out of that we'll try, maybe 10, and maybe, sort of 6 or 7 will actually get on the albums.
Yes, because this is the first album, I suppose, the Who have brought out since the punk new wave, whatever you want to call it, boom in Britain. Do you feel that plus the gap that has been since the last album, that people are therefore expecting a really fantastic Who album? I mean, do you think there's something sort of pressure?
I think that's what we're going to get. I think we're going to get a fantastic album.
Yes. Has there been any sort of pressure, though, on you thinking that was... this one has really got to be a good one, if you see what I mean.
I think that the Who can blow them away.
What do you mean, blow all these new groups?
Yeah. I like a lot of the stuff they're doing, but it's, and I think a lot of good writers and a lot of good musicians are going to come and evolve from it, but at the moment, in the raw sort of state that it is, which is what impressed me most, is that it was just raw energy.
Yes.
Being thrashed out.
Yes.
But it didn't seem to be, just a lot of direction. There was some great words. Some of the words, some of the songwriters, are very good. But
it has been argued that perhaps those groups are groups for that generation, if you see what I mean. The under 20s.
Well, in that case, they're like us, because they got all their influences mainly from the Who and the Stones.
Sure, well, of course. I mean, obviously they've been influenced a lot by you. I wondered if perhaps there's been anything, I know that's in a certain way, but has there been anything you think the Who perhaps has got out of that's happened out of that?
And a couple of the songs on the new album, that Pete's done. Pete
in fact, the single, Who Are You, was written about Pete's confrontation with the Sex Pistols in the Speakeasy. Listen to the lyrics.
That was quite sort of, what happened then? I can't remember.
Well, it was a bit of a barring down there. I don't think it was Johnny Rotten, I think it was Steve Jones and somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to the lyric of Who Are You, you'll hear it's all there. I mean, Pete actually sort of got quite well juiced and woke up in a shop doorway, being shaken awake by policemen. It's all in the lyric of the song.
Yeah.
Yes.
So obviously,
I remember you went on a couple of expeditions, or one expedition down to the Vortex or something, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
I can't remember who that was with now. I remember you with Melody Maker or something. I remember. How did you get on with the people you met there?
Oh, great.
Oh, they loved it. Absolutely loved it. One little fella came up to him actually at one point and said, "You don't mean anything to me, Moon. I'm 17 years old. I don't know anything about Who records, right? I don't care anything about anybody. Nothing means anything to me. I don't require anything. I don't have anything. I don't need any money. I don't want any material possessions." So Keith said, "Very good show." Took hold of his brandy and poured it on the floor. And he said, "That's an expensive drink. You're going to buy me another one?" He said, "No." nothing means anything to you.
You don't need it.
Then Proby found it.
Yeah, we met Proby. But if let's call my bluff.
But if say those groups are the sort of groups of that generation, you're obviously you're going to say that the Who has something to offer those sort of under 20-year-olds as well. But I mean, in a way, the Who is a group of the people who grew up in the 60s and so forth. I mean, would you agree with that or not? Perhaps?
Yeah, but also since when Tommy came out, there was all of a sudden 13, 14-year-olds in the audience again. Who were seeing the Who for the first time.
Yes.
As well as, the staunch old Who fans,
yes.
that have always been with us. There was a new market generated by Tommy. And they thought we were a new group,
Yes. Are you going on tour in Britain or doing any concerts this year? Or?
None planned. And, I think we'll end up going in the studio later on this year to do another album. But at the moment, we really don't have any plans to tour.
Wouldn't you like to? I sort of feel that some people in the group would like to, perhaps more than others.
I'd like to tour. If it was set up, properly, I'd like to tour. But it's different for me. I don't really have the kind of family situation that exists with Pete. And John,
Pete Townsend in particular has been saying lately, hasn't he?
Yeah,
that he wants to.
Mainly, it's basically Pete. That he doesn't really want to go on the road because he's got his marriage to think of and his wife and watching his children grow up, and he wants to do that as well. But you can't do that if you spend 6 months on the road. And if we can structure it in such a way that it'll only mean being a few days away,
yes,
and then going home again, then there might be a possibility that certainly the day of the month-long tour is over. There's a lot of beggars around here. It's a leper.
Got egg whistle, is it?
Don't smash up my room, I'll get the blame. So I never believe you did it, Keith. You all right?
You another room?
No, thanks.
Well, how do you feel about? As partly his family he's been talking about. He's done quite a few interviews, hasn't he? The last year or two. And he seems to be sort of agonising over certain areas of his role and the Who, and so on and so forth. How do you feel about those thoughts that seem to be going through his head? Have you sort of sympathised wholly?
Yeah, absolutely. I can understand the reasons behind Pete not wanting to be away from his family situation. And that we are working on films, we are doing albums, we are putting out product. It's not as if we're not working. We are working. We are putting out new albums. We've got this album out. We'll have another album out. We'll have the soundtrack from The Kids Are All Right out. We'll have a new album with new songs. We'll probably go in the studio at the end of this year. Quadrophenia. And the soundtrack to that, of course, will be out. So there'll be stacks of.
But from very much obviously an outsider's point of view, it would seem that perhaps now the Who is embarking on a great area of activity, whereas perhaps over the last year or so, perhaps again due to Pete Townsend sort of not quite sure about his role in rock music.
It takes time to write. It takes time, and you can't just knock off a couple of songs.
And there have been other projects in between.
There's been solo.
Roger's album, Keith's album.
Yes.
And there's
John's Fabulous Poodle production.
Yes, the Fabulous Poodle.
So what have you been doing in the last year or so? You had living out here, haven't you?
No, I've been, last year I've been back in England.
You were doing involved some sort of film, weren't you, with Chapman?
Mae West. Oh,
Mae
yeah.
West.
Well, I did Mae West here, right?
Is that coming out in Britain?
Sextette, yes. Well, I'm having a print. No, I don't know quite what's going to happen to it. It wasn't widely acclaimed. Need a top up there. So it wasn't, no, it wasn't, I don't know what the...
How do you get on? I mean, do you see a lot of Mae West? Do you see it?
No, I mean, there is a lot of it to see, but I don't...
I suppose she's one of the people that want to come to Los Angeles, isn't it? From Jonesboro, you actually get an interview and see what she does and so on and so forth.
Yeah, she's, you know, constantly surrounded by the military police.
She makes some scaffolders.
Yeah, she's doing I mean,
inches of pancake makeup.
Yeah, and you know, this is almost 86, isn't it? You can't expect. I'm playing a dress designer, and she's just standing there, you know. She didn't have to move at all during the scene that I was playing. I was playing New York faggot dress designer, and so I, you know, so took in all his samples to show her, and you know, my God, she's just so sweet, you know. And she came out with one or two little quips that, you know, were quite amusing. So, you know, we really didn't talk often or a lot at all, you know. She just stood there and I dressed her, and that's it.
Why are you moving from Los Angeles?
Well, because I'm fed up with it, and the rest of the group are in England, and
what's here? Do I quote your remarks as coming from you? I mean, it's Keith Altham.
It's truly a KA one.
What are you finding against Rod Stewart?
But the Shepperton deal was very exciting. You know, it's a long-term thing.
Yes.
I can't, you know, I can see it evolving in 3 years into one of the major film studios again, and in 5 years being the major film studio in Britain.
That means presumably you will hope you're looking towards having films being made, if you like, in which you actually don't have anything to do with it apart from the fact that you're renting the studio or whatever.
Yeah, and we'll do the lot. You know, we can do all sorts of. Already we have lighting, a laser division, we have a trucking company, a limousine company.
Then what actually, I mean, obviously you rehearsed at Shepperton and things over the years. I mean, how did it come about that you decided to actually buy part of it and so forth? I mean,
they did that was done when I was in the States. It was...
It started off as a storage place.
Yeah.
The roads had it done, they just stored stuff. And then they found out
at that point.
That's right. Then they found out that a large portion of it was up for sale. So the roadies let the Who know that the opportunities were there, so to speak, to actually buy into the area. And it built from there.
Yeah. Well, I got a phone call because I was living, at that time I was still in Malibu. And, you know, they we were having, you know, phone calls. Saying, well, you know, the four of us invest in Shepperton because we have some great plans, and we'd like you to come back and throw in some ideas of your own, you know. So I've been working very closely with on the PR side with Keith, and on the other, on actually getting Shepperton back on its feet again. Building restaurants, building hotel, video rooms, recording studios, cutting rooms, editing rooms, all of this. You know, we'll be able to, eventually what will happen is that you'll be able to go into Shepperton, stay there at the hotel, make the film,
whatever you
want to do, cut it, edit it, and record it, do the soundtrack there, and also use our production company.
I mean, people have been saying, as regards the film thing, the British film industry is more or less finished and dead and nobody does anything.
I don't believe that at all.
Not true, look at Shepperton.
Well, what I'm saying is that perhaps that is indicative of the fact that there isn't the talent there, or that there's something wrong with the British film industry. I mean, why do you think you can make it work when other people obviously can't? That's what I'm trying to
because we care about the place.
Yeah.
And we're determined to make it work. I don't really think that the previous management really had that much interest in it. I mean, there was one. I mean, it was owned by a sort of conglomerate, and it was this one piece of real estate that wasn't making money.
Yes.
So it was sold off. I mean, it really wasn't involved. They weren't involved the way we're involved.
Yes.
I mean, we're involved in it, and
They actually bought it for a song, James, at that particular time. I mean, I don't think there's any secret that it was bought for around about £350,000. That's the whole acreage.
So you think that land alone would be worth it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, but you have to remember that at that time, we're going back, what, Keith, 6 years?
Yeah.
The film industry in this country, in the UK at that time, was going through a slump. Since that period in time down at Shepperton, you've had Star Wars, which was shot down there almost in its entirety, right, which rejuvenated the whole situation. The Return of the Pink Panther was shot down there, which did incredibly well. They're doing Alien down there.
We did the one with Graham Chapman.
The Monty Python,
the Odd Job Man.
And there is, in fact, if you go down to Shepperton now, it's all become rejuvenated again. TV films are starting to come into there.
Yeah.
So now the thing is beginning to boom again.
Sweeney.
And of course, Who's investment has paid dividends because of it. But they actually bought it during a time when everybody said, well, you know, you put yourself a
white elephant there.
White elephant there.
Yes.
But like a lot of Who investments, they tend to...
We believe
well, accidentally pay off. The bad thing is they work out, don't they, all the time?
And I think, a lot of it has got to do with our approach. I mean, for example, on our trucking side, we own like a couple of very luxury
coaches. That sort of thing on television.
Yeah. Well, the day after that thing, Jack Jones' agent rang up and booked the coaches. So, for 6 months, Jack Jones does these sort of amazing tours to the Midland clubs and all that, and he's...
I suppose there might be, it probably seem a pretty absurd point of view, but there might be people who would say that rock and roll groups should be rock and roll groups and not be people who are running trucking companies and film studios and whatnot.
Well, to be a rock and roll group, you have to have a truck to carry the equipment in. So for a start, you're in the, you have to buy the truck. So you just use it to carry your own equipment about, fair enough. But if you can use it to carry somebody else's equipment about while you're playing, and it starts to pay for itself, well then why not do that? Because it seems to make more sense,
Some people might say better to put back into the business what you've taken out rather than be a tax exile, which a lot of the others have done. If you look at the Who's money, you'll find it's all reinvested in UK recording studios and in the business in which they've actually earned their money. And not buried in the Bahamas, or in certain
because it's
offshore islands.
Where's the fun in that? It's like, the money... I like to be able to have fun with the money. But it's... and Shepperton is fun. Shepperton is...
But certainly more fun, obviously, running something like Shepperton than putting the money away in
wandering about in the Bahamas, Okay, it's a great thing. If you want to go to the Bahamas, great, but after a month of holiday there, you're climbing the bloody walls, and you have something to do. And the money's just sitting there doing nothing.
I'll see if I can get us on a plane.
So that's really not the way that we thought about our money at all.
Do you feel that, the Rolling Stones are on tour in USA at the moment, aren't they? And do you feel that there's a thing about the sort of groups like the Who and the Rolling Stones that they have to prove themselves all the time now in a way that they're still capable of doing it and still capable of producing good records and things? Do you think that? I think there is that sort of attitude.
Yeah, I think the thought has occurred to me. You know, but on a
in a sense, they've very strongly, haven't they, this year? When everybody more or less said, oh, well, you know, Rolling Stones is finished.
They seem
to come through very, very strongly.
But I know otherwise. You know, I know the true picture. You know? I mean, I know what we've got up their sleeve.
Yeah.
So when I read something like The Who finished, you know, I'm not really. Because I've still got an ace, you know, there's still a...
And you're on the inside.
There's still an ace in my hand, you know, and I know what we're doing and what the Who, and how the Who think, and I'll know when they were finished. You know, I'll know. I'll be one of the first to know.
Well, this is very interesting because I mean, the Who seems made up of very diverse kind of characters in a way, aren't you? I mean, you seem very sort of different sort of person from, say, Pete Townsend, who again is a very different sort of person to Roger Daltrey,
right?
Who is different again from John.
Right.
Yeah, you obviously must get on quite well in some kind of sort of way.
We do. I mean, that's
because you've been going. You know.
That's part of the magic of the band. Is that also we're very, you know, we're pretty much up front with each other about ideas, and there's a constant flow of ideas from the four of us on different. Well, you know, some of the time we have a flow of ideas. You know, we do have our dry spells, but generally there's when the four of us get together, there is a magic. There is something that happens that I really can't explain it.
How do you do you feel sort of lucky, I suppose, is a word in being Keith Moon of the Who?
I thank God that I play in the Who, yeah. And I found like such great friends, you know, and I'm still finding out, you know, about Pete. I'm still finding out about Roger. I'm still finding out about John. You know, and you know.
You obviously sort of have this reputation, certainly in the newspapers, and I suppose with the public at large, therefore, of the you know, the chap who's always getting taken off British Airways planes in wherever it was, Nairobi, and
the social,
the wild man of pop and so forth. First of all, I mean, you think that's justified? What do you think? I mean, I assume you agree.
Really?
It's sort of that's what.
I can't deny that those things didn't happen. You know, they did. But I also think, you know, okay, it's good, like sensationalist press. They don't. And I mean, it doesn't make the headlines when I'm at home playing pool, watching television. Right? I mean, they don't print that. No, that's not. I mean, that's not good copy. But
do you enjoy the sensationalist press, or some people do, some people don't they?
I mean, I don't really care one way or another. I mean, it's there it is. You know, I mean, yes, I did it. You know, fair enough. But I mean, some of the stories I read, like on the British Airways one, it said that I was on the flight deck. Playing on the the engineer's panel with my drumsticks. I mean, who carries drumsticks about? I mean, I certainly don't. So, I mean, most of it, you know, I mean, it's very highly blown up.
Do you think you've changed very much from, say, maybe 10 years ago? I mean, every rock group, when they get going, first of all, tends to go into sort of very wild sort of things, don't they? You still seem to have that image of doing those sort of things that rock groups do on their first sort of tours of America or something.
Yeah, I don't think I've changed a hell of a lot. You know, I still like fooling around. I mean, it's... yes, if you'll excuse me, is there a pause button on
yes, but do you like the image that you would appear to have in, say, Britain? I don't know what it's like here. I mean, do you enjoy being thought of, perhaps, as that sort of,
well,
loon or whatever it is?
Not particularly. It isn't really. I didn't. It's not. On my, I mean, I go out and have a good time, at a party or whatever, and if I jump in the swimming pool, there's like 40 other people jump in the swimming pool, but I get.
You're the one that.
I'm the one that gets the blame, like I started it,
There was something I read in the Express where you was with Annie Nightingale, I think, some time ago.
Yeah.
You said that you did these things because you felt insecure and insecure or something. Is that a correct quote?
No, I didn't think so. I think a lot of them are planned. Because I'm working as a press officer.
In other words, you quite like to get your picture in the paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
How are you still with
Annette Waterlag? Yes. Yes, we.
Some talk of you getting married or something.
Yeah, I think.
Ongoing situation. Or
I think we will. We are discussing that. I think we'll be married.
You think you will?
Yes.
Is that a sort of? I mean, is that something that you've decided? I mean, is definite or?
Yeah, it's definite.
Is she around in Los Angeles at the moment? Or?
No, she's at home. I spoke to her last night.
Do you think you're an easy person to live with?
No, I'm not particularly easy. I'm very quiet when I'm at home. I mean, when I have some people come over, it starts to get a bit riotous. But in general, like I just play with the video machines and make copies of horror movies for my friends and do it. But I mean, it's or talk with Tony Pryor, who is our managing director at Shepperton, about the plans for the studio. Yes. It's a large investment for us, and we.
The Kids Are All Right is the first film that's coming out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the first. That's the first one that Who Films, Inc. have produced. So that will be out fairly soon. And the soundtrack, I have the dates, but I don't have them on me. I don't know that sort of.
How would you sum up that film as what it is, or what it's going to be, or?
Well, I mean, it's 15 years of Who, from say early Ready Steady Go to and the latest sort of shots on my part. We're filmed down at Rampart Studios making this album. So it goes right from our first single to this album. Yes. So it's a fairly complete.
Wide-ranging.
Yeah, and it's
Do you? I mean, you were talking about being on tour, or how you enjoyed being on tour. I mean, do you feel you'd like to go out and basically play the drums somewhere?
I mean, I often do. Yeah, yeah.
Where do you do that?
Well, I mean, if I'm staying, I was on holiday in a little island somewhere off the African coast, and I used to play with the local sort of hotel band quite regularly.
You get paid?
No, I get it's like the old pianist. I get a glass of beer from the management. Put on top of the piano. Play it again, Sam. But
because in the end, obviously, I mean, you're a musician, and it seems to me that the musician, know, you might spend a year off, but in the end, you basically want to go out and just play in front of people. So
well, I enjoy sort of thrashing out and working in the studio too.
Yes.
That's fun. As long as I'm working, as long as I'm playing. And there's lots of other directions, you know, that I'm, like at the moment, now I'm here in LA, I want to meet up with a producer who owns the rights to a stage play. Well, in fact, it was a film, but I want to put it on the London stage and Broadway, and so I should be sitting down round a table and negotiating that, and that's great fun, because if that comes off, you know, I'll be producing a musical and involved in a musical. But all I need is I need the permission of the author now.
Yes.
Before I can go any further. So that's, luckily, I'm in LA and he's in LA, so I just hope we get together. You know. I mean, he's Mel Brooks, so.
Yes, that'd be quite interesting, yeah.
So it should be an interesting combination. So I'd like to.
When you were saying that you occasionally went down and had a good time, but some of them were planned, and because you guys get your picture in papers or whatever, I mean, that's more or less what I think you were saying. Is that just basically fun, really?
Yeah, really, just fun. It you know, doesn't hurt anybody, and it's fairly innocuous. But it's a question of timing, you know. If we're just going to, you know, jump into the pool naked at one point, you know, then I'll wait until I see a photographer before I jump in.
Would you like to get married, in fact?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Why particularly? So, I mean, obviously,
I'd like to, you know, I want to have some, you know, children. Now that, you know, as I say, we've, because of Pete's situation, you know, John's situation, and Roger's family, not Roger so much. I think Roger's really, Roger's wife is glad to see him get out of the way for a while. But with,
they all have a sort of family thing to go back to, I suppose.
Yes, you know,
yeah.
that's you know, that's and so it seems the right time for me now to start thinking in terms of taking a responsibility on. But before, I mean, it was useless, because my commitment to the band was, and still is, total, you know.
Does mean you lost, right?
Yeah, and it just the Who just took over, blew it away.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't have a marriage under the circumstances, you know, that the way we were working then. But now it's the climate has changed slightly, and now it's feasible, you know. Yeah, now I can, you know, have a personal life, private life, as well as, you know, working with the Who.
Yes.
Before, I found it impossible anyway to work out both things, you know. I just couldn't. And Pete, I think, had difficulty keeping his marriage together.
He has said so, I think, hasn't he?
He has, yeah. I think, you know, it was a critical period for Pete, you know, that it was either the Who or his marriage, you know, and Pete said, well, if, you know, it comes out, well, it's my marriage, my children.
Yeah.
But, so, you know, we have to work within certain frameworks that keep us happy, sane, relatively, and at the same time working with the Who and producing.
The Rolling Stones seem to, well, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger seem to have this sort of theory now that they're almost like, you know, things sort of get in the realm of sort of blues scene, you know, more or less sort of, you know, think that they sort of carry on forever in a way, you know, now that you know, they'll for years and years, and nobody's, you know, people are going to still enjoy it and so forth. I mean, do you see that for the Who, in fact, as a musical group? I mean, aside from the other.
Oh, as a musical group in the studio, like, as regards records and films, I can see a future for the Who, but not on the road, not in the same way as the Stones.